to another live stream on daily discipline. If you're new to my YouTube channel, my name is Jonathan. I'm a mentor and a teacher. I teach people, how to build their courage up, their confidence, their discipline, how to overcome their fears, their anxieties, and also how to be more grateful in life. How to practice daily gratitude, and all the things that I've just mentioned. They all tie in with one another, and they're pretty straightforward. They're pretty simple once you get in the habit of practicing them, and once you understand them through your own experiences. So courage beats anxiety. Courage beats pretty much all anxiety disorders, all fears. Now, of course, it would be accurate to say it's not easy. It's not easy for anyone, including me, but it's not always hard. It depends on you, where you're at, where your mind's at, where your heart's at, where your perspective's at in regards to getting over your anxieties. And I always go back to kind of the origin of when I first discovered the antidote to fear and anxiety, because I was struggling. I didn't know what it was. I hated being afraid, hated being bullied. I hated feeling controlled by bullying, and I hated feeling just like there was nothing that I could do, just depressed in feeling hopeless and trapped. And this was going on when I was younger, because, as I said, I was getting bullied a lot at school. I was getting bullied around my area. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't believe I had the strength. And a lot of the fear was worrying about what other people were thinking about me, and worrying about what people would do if I started to be myself, and I started to, speak up for myself and just be myself and express myself. Because when I did that, I got bullied for it, attacked and judged and made to feel ashamed and embarrassed, etc. So what happened was, I got so frightened that I became brave. It was almost like instincts took over. It was almost like another part of me refused to be afraid and be bullied. I got to a point where I suffered so much, I just thought, it can't get any worse than this. And I'm talking about the suffering of being bullied at school, and the suffering of my own mind. My own mind was against me. That's what it felt like. So being a young kid and being frightened and being very sensitive and underneath, extremely sensitive, I just decided I've had enough. The next time someone bullies me, I'm going to fight them. Even if I lose, I don't care. Even if they humiliate me, I don't care. Even if everyone in school hates me, doesn't like me, I don't care. Even if I die, I don't care. I'm not going to stay frightened. I'm not going to stay being a victim. And this was the sort of process that started standing up to bullies at school and around my area. And as soon as I stood up for myself, I completely overcame the fear. I wasn't frightened anymore. I wasn't frightened of the bully or the bullies. And I wasn't frightened of my own anxieties. And that's when I realized the power of courage, especially when you know that you're in the right, when you're not doing anything wrong and someone's being nasty or evil. The strength that I was able to gather from that, and it completely put me into a different place. I felt really good. It's just that heart and that courage where you accept death, you accept uncertainty, and you feel, I felt great. And that's when I realized that it doesn't really matter what people say, in regards to criticizing me or what I can do, what I can't do. I realized that I can do anything that I put my mind to. Because if I could overcome such a terrifying fear, and obviously this was a continuation, when you overcome your fear, it's going to come back at some point, and then you've got to practice exercising your courage again. Just like anything in life, you don't just go work for one day and that's it, generally, unless you don't like the job. You've got to go every single day. So that was how I first learned how to build confidence. Now, I just want to make a point of saying, The realization that I got from that, yes, it was from standing up to bullies initially, and I was getting physically bullied at school. I was getting verbally bullied, bullied in every way. You know, my money was stolen around my area. There was times where knives were put to me, gangs. So I went through all the different sort of ranges of bullying. I got physically hit, spat on, robbed. Most of the bullying that affected me was name calling, laughing at me, making fun of how I looked, how I sounded. So I went through all the different versions of bullying, and even school teachers, not all of them, but some of the teachers putting me down, saying that when I leave school, I'm never going to amount to anything, etc. So when I stood up for myself, what I learned was that bullies got frightened. That level of courage and commitment made them back down, and usually they got scared, or they apologized, or they just went and, which I'm not happy about, but they went and picked on someone else. So when I went through that experience, it didn't just give me confidence to stand up to bullies as a young person and eventually as an adult. It gave me the teaching and the tools to overcome fears in all areas of my life. So that experience taught me how to face fear in life, not just with bullying. So I remembered that as a kid. I forgot it for a while, and then I remembered it again. So when I'd be really frightened of, let's say, for example, I'd be frightened to ask a woman out, as a young man, because I'd be so frightened that she would reject me, and then I would be terrified of having to live with the consequences of being rejected, and then feeling that I didn't deserve to be loved, I wasn't good enough. All those fears, again, very similar, really brought me back to the same place where the bullying first put me in a place of like abandonment, of uncertainty, of loneliness, of absolute terror and torment. So when I was afraid of that, I just go, well, I know what to do here. Not asking someone out, especially if someone likes me, especially if, my mum or my auntie or a cousin said that their friend liked me, but, I had to ask him out. If I didn't ask him out, then I wasn't going to get a date, or it was never going to move forward. I wasn't going to get a relationship. So that terrifying fear that I had, I would find the courage, and it would always usually go well. The girl would be really nice. She'd say yes and want to go out with me, or if she didn't want to go out with me, she'd still be really nice. Nothing bad would happen. Only good things would happen because I stood up to the fear. That's an example. Next example, when I was terrified of not having any money, not getting a job, and I was looking for jobs, I'd be frightened again. I'd be frightened that I was never going to get a job, and I'd be so scared to talk to people. I'd be scared to go to job interviews in case I got nervous and awkward and I embarrassed myself. So again, a fear of rejection, a fear of being in fear, trapped in fear, a fear of never feeling good again. I go back to the teaching again, which I applied when I was getting bullied. And I would make a commitment, and when I would commit, I'd be really confident. I'd surprise myself, and usually I'd be surprised that most people, not all people, but most people were actually nice. So all the fears that I had about people are going to be nasty, they're not going to be understanding, all those sorts of psychological fears. And I'd surprise myself. I'd say it's not true. I am confident. All these conversations in my head which are saying that I can't do it, I'm not confident, are all lies, all part of the fear. So it continued. And again, every time I faced my fears, I understood more and more that it's straightforward, it's simple. It's other people, it's society that sometimes exaggerates and they make out like things are harder than they actually are. So there's a little bit of contradiction in how I understood this process. It's not a contradiction, but it could feel contradictory in that, yes, it's very difficult when you're frightened of something, whether it's a job interview, it's public speaking, it's standing up to a bully, whatever the fear is, starting a diet, overcoming an anxiety disorder, admitting that you've got a problem, getting help, whatever the case may be, getting on a plane, talking about your fears from whatever's happened to you when you're younger, whatever the case may be, yes, it's difficult when you're in a certain perspective, but once you commit to facing it, it's so easy. So depending on the level, depending on how committed you are, it's going to differ in how hard it is. And I understood that from experience growing up, that when I was frightened of a bully and I was begging them and I was praying, I was pleading, hoping that they wouldn't pick on me. I was trying to avoid them. I was going home out the back way, climbing over the gates, running home. All that didn't work. It made it worse running away because I wasn't standing up to the bullies and the fear. But when I said I've had enough of this, can't live like this anymore, and I'd rather the bully kill me, because living like this is like worse than what I could imagine death to be. So when I'd commit to saying I'm going to stand up for myself, it was easy. It was easy because I'd made that commitment. I wasn't protecting myself. There was no protection whatsoever, and I would always find the right solution. It would always solve the problem. So moving forward, like I said, every time I come to the situation again where fear presented itself and I was frightened, the same philosophy, the same thing would work. Like I said, I'd be in a job interview and I'd even be honest and say, look, I'm quite nervous at the moment. I'm quite a nervous person, but if you give me an opportunity, I can do this job. You know, I'm a hard worker and I will get confident. And they usually like me and said, yeah, well, you like that about you, like your honesty, and that's okay. You're a bit nervous, but you'll learn the job and you won't be nervous once you get comfortable, get to know everyone at the job. And that's what I did, and it worked. And it was also the courage to be honest. And when you're stuck in fear, the fear will trick you and convince you that if you be honest, no one's going to like you, or you're going to die, or something really bad's going to happen. But that never happens. It never really happens. And if it did happen, then you'd be able to handle it. You'd figure that out. So the communication was also important. Any correlation between anxiety and low self-esteem? You know what? I'm going to disagree on it. I'm going to say I don't agree on it. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there and I see their point, but I'm going to disagree on it, actually. I'm going to speak my mind more. I've been teaching for 12 years. I think that's quite, I think that view is quite, I think it's quite outdated. I think low self-esteem isn't always a contributing factor to anxiety. I think anxiety is normal. Everyone's got anxiety. Even let's say someone who's got high self-esteem has got anxiety. I think it's the wrong perspective. I think the right perspective is what I'm teaching and saying today, which is courage. It's having courage, because again, you can go on and on with that. What is self-esteem? So many different ways to break that down, but courage is more important. If you practice what I'm saying, you will have self-esteem anyway. But whether you've got self-esteem or not, it's irrelevant with regards to getting over anxiety. Because how are we going to know that? If I said to all of you now, I've got really good self-esteem, how do you know that's true? If I said to you, I've got low self-esteem, how are you going to know that? Someone could say, so it's irrelevant. But what is relevant is what I'm telling you today, and that's the courage to face your fears. So you don't need to worry about self-esteem if you follow what I'm teaching you. If you focus on facing your fears, your self-esteem is going to go up anyway. Your confidence will go up, your courage. But focusing on this whole, what people do, I see them doing it all the time, the whole victim state and the whole analysing, oh, I've got low self-esteem, I've got low self-esteem. Usually that's just a way out. I understand it. Look, I'm not dismissing it. And I went for a stage myself obsessed with self-esteem. And a big part of what I do is building people's confidence up. But I'm trying to give you the most precious thing that I can give you, what I know works. I've been teaching for 12 years and practicing this for 40, well, I say 40 years. I mean, not from when I was first born, for more than 20 years. So courage is more important. Look, if I was going out to battle with a group of people, I don't care about your self-esteem. I care about your courage, your heart. Self-esteem's not gonna, get you through life and death situations. Courage is. So self-esteem is quite a basic level of human development. And there's people out there that have got higher self-esteem than me, but I'm braver than them. They wouldn't face what I faced. And the same for you or my clients. They wouldn't do it because sometimes self-esteem is not good. Too much of an ego because they're too scared of losing stuff or taking a risk. So I honestly believe with anxiety that self-esteem is pretty irrelevant. I think I think what's more important is who you are as a person, how you treat people, your values. They're way more important because self-esteem comes and goes, and it's not easy to measure. But what you can measure is what I'm talking about today. Your level of courage, because we can hide behind labels like self-esteem. But we'll find out. We'll find out where someone is at by what they can face, and I don't mean that in a horrible way. I've got to be straight. So I've seen many people throughout life who play on that pretense that they've read a lot of books or this or that, and they don't have anxiety, and they present that it. But I get to see that they're not truthful, that they can't go in a boxing ring. And I say, well, if you've got such high self-esteem and you're talking a big game, why can't you go into a boxing ring? You're more confident than everyone and me, but you can't do it because you're scared to death. You ain't got no courage, or you can't do a public talk. So if your self-esteem was so high, why can't you get up and do a public talk and give something back to your community and help people? Well, you mustn't have great confidence because you've got no courage. You're too scared. You ain't got no bottle. Or, if you've got such high self-esteem, why do you care so much what people think about you? Why don't you have the courage to start your own business? Why can't you be honest about your struggles? So you don't have good self-esteem. You're just hiding behind words and reading books and literature because it's comfortable and it's getting out of facing the fear. So I wouldn't focus so much. Good to see all of you. I wouldn't focus so much on self-esteem. I think that's a cop-out, as is many things that people hide behind. But I am not saying that it's not good for a person to have a good self-esteem, confidence, but I'm saying it's not that important for people who've got major anxiety disorders that want to move forward in their life. What difference does it make if you've got high self-esteem or low self-esteem, but you're not enjoying your life? My goal is to help people to enjoy their life, to be able to face their fears. So then self-esteem will come as a consequence anyway. So focusing on self-esteem, I've never seen it help any client. It's never helped me. It's usually held them back because they believe something. They read, this doctor, this psychologist said, I've got anxiety because I've got such low self-esteem. Okay, well, what are you going to do about that? So you're just gonna live like that and give up then, because you found a way out where focus on the stuff that's truthful. I like William Wallace from Braveheart. He doesn't talk about self-esteem. He don't talk about that bullshit. He talks about truthfulness. He says to them at the battle, he says, look, you're here today and you've all got freedom. You don't have to fight. You don't have to fight. I can't make you fight. It obviously in the battle, right? The English and the Scottish, right? And again, I'm English and Irish, and I don't care about that. I just treat everyone. I just see how people are as a person. I don't care where they're from. But we're just referencing a point that I love in the film. He says, look, you can fight the English and risk dying, or you can run away. But if you run away to survive another day, can you live with the pain of regret on your deathbed? When you look back and you're older and you say, I was a coward. I ran away. Or would you rather fight today and risk dying but for freedom? And what he's talking about is what I'm talking about, is courage. He's not asking him about self-esteem. He doesn't give a shit about self-esteem. Self-esteem doesn't mean anything in life and death situations. Courage is what is important. Have you got the courage? You can't. So, okay, so imagine you're swimming in the deep water, in the deep water in Australia, and there's a great white shark coming, and it's gonna kill you. Do you think you can say to a shark, "Oh, by the way, I've got high self-esteem," and the shark's, "Oh, actually, don't eat him or her, because he's got high self-esteem." "Oh, I've got low self. Yeah, let's eat him, eat her. He's got low self-esteem." It doesn't give a shit about that. Courage is what's going to help you to survive. You know, whether it's a technique, whether it's, I know it's not going to be easy, but not panicking, because if you panic, the shark it'll kill you. It will sense your fear. Or not moving around so you can cut yourself. If blood comes out, the shark will be all over you. So probably having courage would be trying to control yourself, or punching the shark in the head. So that's my point. That's with anxiety. And I went through a stage of that as well, because I was naive at the time. I listened to people that were talking bullshit. They were not qualified. They read books and they had no courage. And they try and come at me with these whole, read this book on self-esteem, thinking this way. It's all bollocks. It doesn't work. It doesn't work in the real test of life. You know, it just becomes an ego thing. It becomes a ticking boxes. You know, too much psychology, too much, too much of all these doctors and psychology. It doesn't work. It does not work. The stuff that works, you see the proof of it. My stuff works. Otherwise, I wouldn't have achieved what I've done. I wouldn't have helped so many people. And I like to make a point of saying, I'm not better than anybody. I'm just another human being, same as everyone. But I've got a story to tell, and I can help you move forward. Good to see you, Timmy. So courage is really important. Courage is more important than confidence and self-esteem. As I said, I've met so many people in my walk of life. They're more confident than I am. They're more socially relaxed than I am. They're more calmer, but they're not braver than me. I'm much braver than them because of my experience in life, because of what I face, because of my mindset, because of the fact that I'm willing to lose, willing to take a risk to help people. I've met so many people that have said, I'd love to help people. I'd love to do what you do. And I said, why don't you? No one's stopping you. No one's stopping you from helping people. There's millions of people out there. Oh, too scared, too fearful, don't have any courage. Got self-esteem, yeah, got qualifications, read a lot of books, but haven't got no bottle. Ain't got no balls, ain't got no backbone. Care too much, too selfish. Yeah, too narcissistic, care about themselves too much, too self-centered, always thinking about them. Where I weren't born that way. I didn't live that way. Even when I was younger at school, and my life was hell at times. I was getting bullied. I would stick up for other kids that were weaker than me. I risked my life on numerous occasions, even as an adult. I risked getting stabbed, I risked getting shot, I risked getting killed to stick up for other people, because for me that's important. It was always important to be a decent human being and to care about other people, but to not to take shit from anyone, especially bullies and especially my own fears. So this stuff works, and this is usually the stuff that society doesn't like because it's too truthful, and it works. And people don't like it when they've gone to university their whole life and studied, and they've bought into something that is not true, that doesn't really work. It just sounds good, self-esteem. All these therapies that are weak, they don't work. They don't work when they're really tested in life and death situations, and what I teach works in these situations, what I've learned. And it's not just my teaching, it's what I was taught by good people, life. So some of it's mine, yeah, some of it's mine, some of it's all of ours. For me, it's not an ego thing, it's just being truthful, saying what works, what doesn't. So I don't get caught up on self-esteem. But self-esteem, it can have some benefits, but not in what we're talking about today. It's not strong enough for anxiety. Discipline's more important. Courage, discipline, being kind to people. Listen, not giving a shit about what people think about you, but still caring about people. That's important. I've lived my life like that throughout my whole life. Has it been easy? No, it's not been easy. But it hasn't not been easy all the time. So when you care about other people, that is a beautiful thing. And if you don't care, if I didn't care about people, I wouldn't want to be alive. I'd rather be dead. It's no point to living, to not love other people, to not have empathy for other people. What's the point? I'd rather be dead. But to live your whole life caring what people think is you're dead. You're dead inside. Because for as long as you care about what people think about you, you're in prison. You've got no freedom. You can't be yourself. You know, it goes against nature. But obviously that's where people can be at, and I've been there, and you can break out of that. Let's get some questions going. I'm on a rant today. Appreciate all of you coming on. I want to give you the best today for men and women, people of any age, and you don't have to have an anxiety disorder. And if I want to give you the best thing I can possibly give you today, and it's for free, is sharing my story with you. And it's basically explaining to you courage is the antidote to beating all anxiety disorders, all of them, all of them. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. Can it be easy? Yes, it can. It depends. It's like anything in life. We have good days. All of you do. We're all human. You have days where you got a really good day today at work. It was easy because it went well. You felt well, and everyone got on. But then you got days where you go, I hated it. It was hell. It was a horrible day today. We all have days like that. So it's the same with facing fears and anxieties and recovering and getting over anxiety. Same way I overcame social anxiety. You know, I've helped many of my clients. My client Phil, he's got an amazing story. He overcomes social anxiety, helps people. If people ask me, Jonathan, was it easy to overcome social anxiety? I say it was hell and back. It was hard, it's agony at times. But there were points where it was really easy. It was both. That is the truth. That is the account. All right, David. No, I'm not ignoring Timmy. I'll get the questions. I've just got to get this out. And it's also building a good relationship with fear. Listen, let me tell something you straight. I'll tell every single one of you. When I was younger growing up, I used to be scared inside. I used to think, I'm frightened. There's something wrong with me. Everyone ain't. It's rubbish. Every single person is frightened underneath. Everyone's got fears. Everyone's got anxiety. What I've just said is a fact. Some people lie about it. That's their choice. Some people are honest about it, which I personally respect more. And some people, some lie about it. Some people hide it well. And you've got people like myself who are transparent and honest about it because we don't see a reason to lie because it's normal, but it's how you deal with it. So I say before, it's not enough. You've got a generation today and the older generation of people, and I'm going to applaud it, but there's flaws in it. I'm going to call it out. And they say, yeah, you know, I've got mental health. Yeah, I'm scared and all that. But that's not enough though if you want to improve your life and help people and live a good life. You've got to face it. It's not enough just to say, you know what, I've got a lot of fears in my life, because that won't get you anywhere in life. That's a start though. That is a start. So that I'm not saying that is negative, but you need to do more than that. You can't just say, I've got fears of public speaking, I'm an introvert, I'm scared of people, I'm scared of money, I'm scared of being judged, I'm scared of making mistakes, I'm scared of punishment, I'm scared of rejection. You know, you can't live your whole life like that because you're just going to live as a coward. Or if you know, some people say, God bless them, I want to get help, but I'm afraid of getting help because I don't trust people, which I can understand, or I don't have the money, or I've got the money, or whatever. I'm scared to do the therapy. I'm scared what it's going to expose. You can't stay there. Otherwise, you're just going to it's going to be hell on earth. So you have to take action. You've got to face that courage. It takes so much courage to get help. I've done it. And I know a lot of you have done it on many times in my life. That has taken every bit of courage to say, I need some help right now. I need to get therapy, or I need to speak to a friend, or I've got to get down to the boxing gym, but it's worth it. You're right, Trevor. When losing a loved one, how much should I unload my emotion to go free in grievance? What's the fine line where I don't lose myself while grieving for a person that passed away? You know what, Trevor? First of all, I'm going to say, I really mean this, condolences. I'm going to say, you know what, Trevor? I don't have the answer to that question because I'm going through the same thing you are. This might help you. And it's really, really difficult. What I can tell you is you just got to allow yourself to grieve, because there's no particular right or wrong way to grieve. What I would say is having a daily routine really helps, and talking to other people like myself. And I'm really so sorry to hear that you've gone through that. And I understand, because I lost a friend last year to suicide, and I'm still going through grief now, like you. But I'd say having help and support is really important. And I got therapy, I'm getting therapy at the moment. A lot of it is the grief. So, you know, face the fear. Don't be afraid of it. You're human, you know what I mean? Crying is normal, all these things. But I would say, yeah, you don't want to lose yourself, obviously. And the person that you really love, I don't know who it was, if you want to share with me, you can. They don't want you to suffer. So I hope that helps. But I think time, it takes time. And again, I can't tell you the answer to that. I wish I had it, and I don't. I can't tell you how much you should unload your emotion to free yourself from the grief. I'd say for as long as you can, until you get to a place of acceptance. And that's something that I've had to do. So just be easy on yourself, and, get some advice as well from people that are around you. I'm sure you've done that already. It's not easy. It's not easy. These things are not easy. Now, I would separate grief and losing someone that you love to what I'm talking about today, which is helping people that have got anxiety or anxiety disorders to find courage and to take action on their fears. I hope that's helped, Trevor. If there's let me know if there's anything more that I can do to help, anything you want to get out. But don't be afraid. You're allowed to get things out on this stream, and that goes for anyone. It really isn't an easy thing to deal with, and we're learning on the job. All right, Timmy? I guess what I'm trying to say today is that courage is more valuable than self-esteem and confidence and things like that, because those things come as a result anyway, and gratitude's more important. Things like gratitude, I think deep down people know this, but they're scared to acknowledge it and admit it. But when you do, you feel better. So again, and people can disagree if they want. At the end of the day, it's all of your choice. Anyone out there wanting to improve their anxiety and their confidence, I wouldn't focus on self-esteem. I'd focus on practicing courage, practicing facing your fears, exposure therapy. I would prioritize that more. And I would also get some help and support to help you, which we all need help. I would get a mentor, whether you work with me or whoever it is. Find someone that you trust, that you like, that can help you, that's qualified, can help you to improve your anxiety and your confidence and your courage. It's not so much about getting rid of the anxiety, because you can't fully get rid of anxiety. No one can. But it's about getting stronger. I use this analogy. I'll read your question in a second, Trevor. I'm going to get to it. So I know this is not great, but so let's say that's anxiety, right? That represents anxiety, and that represents courage. So obviously this isn't a good place to be at, and I've been there, right? And you can get out. So most people at a certain point, their anxiety is through the roof, right? That's where it is a major anxiety disorder, and their courage is down the toilet, right? I've been here. Confidence, all that stuff's down, because the anxiety is so high. Why? Because they're not facing their fears. So they're not building a tolerance to anxiety, and their courage is not going up. As you start to face your fears in life, your courage starts going up. And as your courage starts going up, your anxiety starts to come down. It's not going to go away forever. That's not human. That's no one's good, but it's going to subside, and it might go down lower at times when it comes up. So you need more courage than you've got anxiety. And that's how you recover from anxiety disorders. Recovering from an anxiety disorder doesn't mean that you're never going to get anxiety. You're going to get anxiety, but you're going to deal with it better. You're going to be stronger. Thank you for that. You're welcome. I've been through a lot. I guess I'm just afraid not to lose myself in the process, but being genuine in grieving for a loved one at the time. Thank you, Jonathan. You're welcome. In regards to your fear, I would say, accept it. Accept that that might happen. Now, we don't want that to happen. It's not going to happen, right? And I don't want that to happen. You don't. But you can't let the fear bully you. So accept that worst case scenario. You might lose yourself, but what does that mean? What does losing yourself mean? Go face the fear. Face it now. Does that mean that you're going to have a mental breakdown, medication, have to visit the doctor? I'm really trying to get you to overcome this fear by facing it. And it won't happen anyway, right? I'll say a prayer for you, but sometimes you've got to go there. You've got to stand up to the fear, because that's what your fear's telling you. Now, you won't lose yourself if you keep facing the fear. Go to the gym, join these live streams, get the support that you need. I don't know everything about your life, your family that you've got, or your friends. Communicate with them. Don't be on your own, basically. But also work on getting your strength up. We don't want to be victims because we lose someone that we love. It's not our fault. It happens at some point to all of us. We can't escape that. But we don't want to make that. We don't want to be a victim, as you said, and then we get unwell. So, work out, exercising is important, the things I talk about on this channel, but also be forgiving on yourself, give yourself time. So you've got the power to do it. Well, that was pretty funny. How long have I got left in my prison cell? I don't know, how long have I got now? I'd say, what we got now? If I'm on a 24-hour lockdown in this place now, so what have I got now? What time is it? I don't know, another 15 hours? But funny you mentioned that, fear becomes a prison when you don't stand up to it. Anxiety does. For example, agoraphobia, social anxiety. I've been there, done it, wore the t-shirt, helped many clients, many people go through it. I'm trying to help more people to overcome it. You're in your house, so you're not in an actual prison, but you are in prison. And I say that respectfully. Someone's in prison in that state. They won't go out the house. They don't want to be around people. They're frightened. They're frightened of eye contact. They're frightened of getting awkward in front of people. I've been there. I've overcome it, so can any of you. So they won't come out the house because they're frightened of everything. The paranoia's got really high, the anxiety's taken over, so they don't want to be triggered, the safety zone, but that becomes a self-created prison. So you're in a prison in your own mind and you're not leaving your flat. So the way that you overcome that is by facing the fear and saying, right, I've had enough of this, no more of this anymore. I'm not letting the fear do this to me. Whatever it's going to threaten me with, bring it. Leave your apartment, go for a walk, and then come back home. That's how you conquer the self-created prison from social anxiety, from agoraphobia, from paranoia, all these anxieties. And of course, if you're really unwell, then you call for help. You get professional help. That's good. Madway has given some advice for grief. He's right, you're right. Don't express your emotions. It's so important. I mean, that kills you if you do that. You've got to get your emotions out. You've got to cry. Crying is normal. And it's crying, for men who think it's not a man, crying makes you more of a man. When did crying make a man not a man? That's ridiculous. It's outdated and it's stupid and it's not truthful. So it's important to cry and grieve. Yeah, positive things. That's hilarious. Timmy's always got good jokes. Hilarious jokes. I'm too scared to read them out. Might upset someone, so Timmy writes them, and we'll leave it as that, right? Humor's good. Humor's good as well. Humor beats fear. But yeah, I recommend any of you to look at that scene from Braveheart. That really, he explains it better than I can. What I'm trying to teach from my story and many people's story, it's a message of hope, of courage, of love, of standing up to fear, in order to find freedom, which is obviously what everybody wants. And if you want freedom, then you're going to have to exercise your courage, because without courage, at least our time on this earth, you're not going to find freedom. You're going to be trapped in a prison, whether you're in prison, in a real prison, or you're in prison in your home, or you're in prison in your own mind. That's where running comes in. Running is a great way to build up your courage, your tolerance to anxiety, your mental strength, your gratitude, your respect for other people, your personal boundaries, so you don't let people walk all over you, not caring what people think about you, but still caring about other people. Pretty obvious, simple stuff, but all of it takes courage. Courage is intelligence. I knew that when I was younger, and I knew that people were wrong. I knew they were lying. I knew that people were trying to tell me, oh, I'm not educated, I'm not smart. I knew I was smart. I knew everybody's smart, but not in the way that they were trying to bully me and manipulate me and put harm on me, by trying to tell me that I could only be smart if I pass a maths exam, which is a pile of crap. It's not true. You know, you don't have to pass a maths exam in order to be smart, but passing a maths exam is a great thing. If you like maths, I'd encourage people to do that. I've worked with a lot of students throughout my career who want to pass their exams, and that's a beautiful thing if they're passionate about that, but they haven't got the courage. They need some mentorship to overcome their fears of developing as a person, not just passing exams, in life in general, getting on better with people, all these fears. So I knew that courage come from a place of intelligence, but not intelligence in the way that a lot of the school system teaches, which is intellectual intelligence, which is a body of intelligence, but it's not intelligence in its entirety. Spiritual intelligence, awareness, this is on a different level, and that comes from inside. From everyone's got that, so everyone has that, but to access that, you've obviously got to be really brave. You've got to go to that place and exercise it. The same way every client I've ever worked with is intelligent. Before someone criticized me and criticized my clients, tried to put my clients down, put me down, and I said, you're just jealous. You're just jealous because they're doing better than you. I said, all my clients are intelligent people. They're good people, the same way I am. And you're just nasty. You're just jealous because you're unintelligent and you're hateful, and you can't be honest about that. So intelligence comes from love as well. It comes from caring about people, but also standing up to bullying. It comes from inside. Deep down, people know that, but they're terrified of it because they don't want to face the responsibility of accessing it and living that in case they die, or society doesn't like it, or people don't like it, and they're also afraid of people liking it. So I understand these things because I've learned them, lived them, and experienced them, and been around some intelligent people as well. So intelligence, the intelligence that I teach and I'm talking about, is not intellectual intelligence. It's not reading books. It's awareness. It's experience. It's courage. The intelligence is from the courage. Timmy says, when I exercise after a long layoff, sometimes there is stuck emotions, and I feel like it helps to release them. After completing a race, I can weep. 100%. That's intelligence. That is very intelligent what you said, because that's true, that's correct, and that works for everyone, and that's inspired me. Brilliant, Timmy. I'm over the moon. Keep doing it. Dima says, jealousy and envy are poison. 100%. Tyree says, I've been struggling with panic attacks. I hate that. I'm anxious almost all the time. I come to realize my threshold for stress tolerance is very low. I like your honesty. Good stuff, good courage. You're going to improve. How do I build a good foundation of discipline? Great question, great honesty. I'm covering this subject every day in every video, and I'm not saying this to be patronizing to you, Tyrese. I've just explained that throughout this whole talk about how to build tolerance, and the way that you do that is by facing your fears consistently. But I did make a specific video, Tyrese, somewhere on the channel. If you find it, it's a live stream somewhere answering your specific question about how to build more tolerance and discipline, and you've kind of answered your own questions. Let me give you some examples. Running. Now, a little bit of contradiction in what I'm going to say, but contradiction is always going to be in a bit of truth, so it's good. Running is the best exercise in the world for mental health. Running is the best exercise in the world for building confidence, tolerance, stress management, discipline, gratitude, self-respect, personal boundaries, reducing people pleasing, caring about others, standing up to bullying, running. I recommend that you do running, Tyrese. I run, I love it, or anyone. That's the first one. The second one is public speaking. I know probably you won't want to do that right now, but in your own time, sooner the better. Public speaking is the best thing an anxious person can do. Why? Because they're frightened of it. And what you're frightened of is where you're going to gain confidence, courage, certainty, or tolerance to uncertainty, and discipline and intelligence. And it's simple. That's really powerful. So you've got running, public speaking. The second one is therapy or mentorship, working with someone that can help you with your issues for a certain period of time. I don't recommend it forever. That's not good. I've worked with clients before and they've been in therapy too long. It's not good for them. They told me, and I know that escape route where they go in therapy for reassurance every year. And the therapist they're paying the therapist for the therapist to please them. It's not going to help, to give them reassurance, but they're not fixing the problem. And the problem is a lack of courage. They're not facing their fears. So if you're going to therapy and the therapy eventually is going to help you to face your fears, then the therapy is working. But if you're going to therapy and the therapy is protection, is avoidance, it's not working for you. It's just feeding the problem. So it's very important that you're making sure that your therapy is making you grow in courage, and you've got that understanding with your therapist. So we're not blaming therapists, because it's also down to all of you. It's down to us. And of course, you're going to get good therapists. You're going to get therapists that are terrible, like all things in life. But I want to give you the understanding of what works. Dieting is going to help. Now, that's very, very important, because dieting is teaching you discipline, tolerance, all the difficult things, Also as well, it's important to have love in your life, to have things that you enjoy. I said it to my client yesterday. It's not taking things to the extreme. So I'm not saying that in order to overcome anxiety, you just got to spend your whole life facing fear. I never said that. But to some degree, that's true. You need a balance, obviously. There's a time to rest. We don't want to be in therapy every day. We don't want to be talking about our issues every minute. That's compulsive. You're going to get depressed. You've got to enjoy life. Go to the cinema, eat some popcorn, watch a movie. Enjoy time with friends, watch some comedy. I'd also recommend as well, Ty, online, there's a good community out there. Write in anxiety, OCD, there's a good community of people out there that have got a lot of experience and they've lived it. And they can also help you with building more stress tolerance. Timmy says, before you achieved a high level of athleticism, when you were starting out and you were physically exhausted, did you find you was more likely to blush in social encounters, particularly in unfamiliar? I never had that social tic, Timmy. I never blushed, but I had all the other anxieties. I got awkward. I broke eye contact, or I stuttered when I spoke, or I looked down, or I froze up, or I started to people please, or I started to suppress myself, around people. They're the sort of tics that I had, but I didn't have the blushing one. But the blushing one would be the same as all the other fears. You basically got to face the fear, Timmy, and accept it. Your fear at the moment is, your mind is saying, I'm afraid to go into social situations because I might blush in front of people. Then they're going to see that I'm blushing. It's going to make me feel embarrassed, and then that's going to make me feel terrible. You got to face it. You got to accept it. I'm going to be straight with you, Timmy. You might not want to hear it, but it's tough love. Who cares? Who cares, Timmy? I don't care, Timmy. If you come to my event, or if I get to work with you or wherever, and I don't care if you blush. Why don't I care? Well, because really I love you. You're a nice person, and I'm not worried about whether someone's blushing or not. I got more important things to worry about. But I understand it's not easy when you're going through it. But I got to give you something tough today. Otherwise, it's not going to help you, Timmy. So you have to accept it. You have to accept right now that you probably won't be able to accept it, and that's how you're going to get over it. And that's the same way that I helped a client who had a starter problem. He got embarrassed in front of me and everyone. He used to stutter when he spoke. He's an amazing guy to work with, that I work with, who changed. And I said to him, look, you've got to accept it, you've got to face it. And that's what he did, and he really built himself up. You know, he got himself back to university, got himself a girlfriend at the time, you know, started to earn more money, got on better with his parents, done public speaking, he made new friends. He turned his life around. An amazing young man, because he committed to the process, you know, and he went out and educated himself, and amazing young man. So his one's no different to yours. Whether you've got a fear of blushing in public, you've got a fear of stuttering, you've got a fear of getting awkward, you've got a fear of getting embarrassed, you've got a fear of freezing up, you've got a fear of running out of things to say. They're all the same. They're all fears. They're all anxieties. How do you defeat these? How do you overcome them? With courage, with exercising your courage. Deep down, all of you know that. Be honest, girls. I know it's not easy, but it will get easier. You know what I'm saying is true, because I speak from experience of being anxious and overcoming these anxieties and helping so many people and continuing. I had it. I had these fears. What if I go into a coffee shop and I order a coffee and then I get awkward, and then they look at me and see that I'm awkward, I'm panicking, and they think I'm a terrible person. What if I make people feel uncomfortable with my nervousness? I was scared of all those things. I got to a point where I said, I don't care anymore. I want that to happen. I didn't want it to happen, but I accepted it. I can't live like this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I'm suicidal, I'm depressed, I'm down. I'm not getting over the problem because I'm living in a prison of what if. I'm avoiding. It's never going to get better. It's never going to get better if I don't face it. Even a therapist can't do that for me. Most therapists are not going to do that. I used to do that for my clients. They're not going to take me out, hold my hand and say, right, I'm holding your hand. I'm going to make you face the fear of eye contact, of talking to people. They can't do that. You have to learn to do that for yourself. But I'm going to give you all the help that I can give right now. And that's when it gets easier. And then you get over it, or you accept it. Either way you overcome it, you accept it. For life, you accept that at any moment, in any situation socially, you could start blushing. Give yourself the freedom. Who cares? I don't care. What I care about is if people are decent people, they got a good heart or not. No one's perfect. We've all got our issues, me included. So I don't care about that. And if someone really cares that someone's blushing, then they need to get a life. Their life's not interesting. They're living under the surface and they're too insecure. So I wouldn't worry about that. I've had clients sweating. They worry about sweating. What if I start sweating? Who cares? I enjoy sweating. I like sweating. That's why I go running. Overcome it. You know, we're all going to die eventually. Now, on the grand scheme of things, do you think people, or this is not just to Timmy, to anyone, they're going to say, do you remember Timmy? Do you remember Jonathan? Do you remember when Jonathan got awkward? Who's going to care about that? Do you remember when Timmy was sweating? Remember when he was blushing? Oh, remember the guy that was stuttering? No one's going to care about that. You know what people are going to remember? How you treated them, how you was as a person. That's why I'm going to remember you, Timmy. I haven't met you in person, but I can feel you're a good person. He's a good person, good heart, good humour, good human being. That's how I remember people. That puts things into perspective and clears up the bullshit of the fears that we blow out of proportion that are not really a big deal. They're not really a big deal. If you met someone, this is for men and women, everyone, right? Let's say you met someone and you fell in love with them. You love that person. Do you care? Do you really care if they've got some anxiety? I don't give a damn. I wouldn't care. If I met a woman and I fell in love with her and she got anxiety in social situations, I don't give a damn. I just look after her and care about her. I don't care about that. I obviously want to try and get her out of suffering, but I'm not going to care about something so small. These things that we have to overcome, otherwise these things are just going to ruin your life. You're not going to go out and enjoy your life and make friends because of the fear of blushing. It's small. We've got to get over it. And you do that, as I said, with courage, communication, and all of it's courage. All this is courage. Every single bit of it. Today, all of you that come on the live stream, who spoke about your anxieties, that's courage. That's exercise. That's how you're going to get better, by speaking about it and not bottling it up. But as I said, not just speaking about it as a compulsive way of getting reassurance and just speaking about it, but eventually facing the fear. And that's what I found on my journey, what helped. Many years I bottled things up until I thought, I can't do this anymore, because bottling things up is making me suicidal, and I don't want to be in this place anymore. And it's making me have a lot of mental and emotional problems because I'm not getting things out that naturally need to come out, which at the time was, I'm scared, I've got anxieties, I don't know what to do. And when I got it out, I felt better. I thought, I know what to do now. And people helped me, Les Brown. Now I'm going to admit my fears. That's step number one, to free me from the burden of bottling things up. And that gives me self-esteem, confidence. And the next step is I'm going to go and face them. So I started like this, right? I want to do boxing, but I'm frightened of boxing. I'm frightened in case I get bullied at the gym and I get beaten up and no one likes me at the gym. And I start getting, everybody sees that I'm scared and I'm not a confident person, nervous. That's what frightens me. Right, that's my fear. What am I going to do about it? I'm going to go and face it. I don't care if that happens. I don't want it to happen, but whatever, let's go for it. So I joined the local boxing gym, and it took me a couple of weeks to get comfortable in there, and I did it. And eventually I was proud of myself. I built myself up and my self-esteem went up. But I didn't care about self-esteem in that way. I wanted to get my confidence and my courage. I wanted to face these fears and survive and prove that I'm not going to die, which I didn't. And I absolutely loved it. At the time of my life, lovely people down the gym. I'll never forget them. Great memories, and I had great experiences, and I achieved my goal. I had an amateur fight. I got beaten, I lost the fight, but who cares? I had the courage to do it. I sparred a lot. I got to meet a lot of interesting people, and I overcame my fears. So anyone can do it, but that's a step in how you do it. But if I just kept talking about it for years and I didn't face it, I wouldn't have made progress. Sorry if I can't pronounce names. Some of your names are difficult to pronounce, so I'm not disrespecting any of you. I try and pronounce it, and it might not be your real name. So is it Eric Taney? Interesting name. Is that? I do believe therapy works different for men and women. Like Jonathan said, I think as men, we need courage and discipline more than therapy. Not disrespecting therapy, but as men, we need purpose. I agree. Listen, I'm doing therapy at the moment. Is it helping me? It is helping, but it's not enough though. Even my therapist said that. So, and I've been mentoring people for 12 years, almost 13 years. So I have experience on both sides. As a teacher, yeah, some people say to me, are you a therapist, Jonathan? Well, no, I'm not a therapist. But is there some elements of therapy in my work? There is elements of therapy, which is great. But I'm more of a teacher of courage, getting clients to transform their life, as you said, and build up their whole life. But yes, therapy can work, but it's making sure. I worked with a client recently. His therapist was great, lovely lady, because she was honest with him. He had social anxiety, right? And she was helping him. But she said to him, look, if you don't go and face your fears of talking to people, you're not going to improve. She told him, and I like honest people that are like that care about the person, not about their ego, or what their credentials are. So she said, go and take the program with this person, Jonathan, because it will help you with what we're doing. And he did it and he got better. Because if you've got social anxiety, the only way you're going to overcome that is by facing the fear of people and being intimate and being open and being vulnerable. That's how you overcome it right there. You've got to talk to people. You have to learn. It's going to take time. You've got to be yourself. Because if you talk to people and you wear a mask and you hide, then you're not going to overcome social anxiety and trauma. So that's how you do it. So I'd say, why not do my approach? Try it, Bruce Lee's approach. Learn, get a bit of everything. Get some therapy, find a therapist that works. Listen, let's make it simple. Go and get the therapy. Give it a chance, right? Don't just blame your therapist for one session, because that's down to you. A lot of people do that. I've seen that with people. Oh, I've been to 12 different therapist teachers and all of them are rubbish. They don't work. They scam me. No, that's not true. You blamed them. You didn't stick to it. You didn't take responsibility. I'm not saying that some may have not been good. Well, then leave. If you're doing therapy and you've been doing it for a while and it's not working, you'd be a fool to continue. Stop doing it. Find what works, and that's how I did it. So of course we got to be honest. Not every person's going to work for you. The same way people are going to come on my channel. I know a lot of people it works, but it's not going to work for everyone. Some people are not going to like me. They're not going to agree, and my approach may not work for them, even though I think my approach works for everyone. Because it's not my teaching, it's courage basically. But maybe there's going to be certain things that won't work, and also my personality. So you do have to find someone that you get along with, because someone could have the right teaching, but you may not like them. You might not trust them, and you just might have a personality clash. So that's also important as well, that you've got that relationship. And that's been important for me on my journey, because when I first started, you had Tony Robbins, you had Les Brown. Nothing against Tony Robbins, because he's great. I don't dislike him, but I didn't resonate. I don't connect with him. I connect with Les Brown, and I prefer Les Brown. But Tony Robbins is more famous than Les Brown, and he's very successful, and he's helped a lot of people, but I didn't connect with him. Nothing against him. He seems like a nice bloke. I like Les Brown. I trust Les Brown more. I resonate more. So I stuck with Les Brown, and it changed my life. So, it's not about being, this therapist or that, because if you do that, then you're going to find a way out. But I understand it. It's human. If you go work with someone and they promise to get you results and you put work in and you spend money, then you're going to be pissed off that it didn't work. I'd be the same. But again, facing the fear, it's moving on and, doing the things that I've said, that working on your life. You can't just go to therapy and then, eat a crap diet, don't exercise, don't be nice to people, don't stand up for yourself and then say it's not working. Well, of course it's not working, because you're not living your life in the right way. You're not facing your fears. You're using therapy as an escape, as opposed to using therapy to grow and to change your life. So that's an important, very important factor. I had this conversation yesterday with my client Phil, who's a very good coach, and we spoke about this because he coaches people, and the importance of being aware of these different factors. You're funny, Timmy. That was a funny joke. That's true. Probably a good point what you said. So yeah, my rant's come to an end now. Where's the coffee? I went on a big rant there, didn't I? That was a good one today. You lot have been great. I think the maintenance people are coming now. Perfect timing. So yeah, that's really it today. I wanted to do an hour. I've got a client at 1. I'm going to charge my phone up. So I hope this helped a lot of people. This is what works in my experience. It's, within all the things, get therapy if you need it. Get help and support, very important. But you can't neglect, at some point, you're going to have to face your fears and exercise your courage. And, any therapist with any credentials will tell you that, whether it's doctors, therapists, eventually exposure is what you need to do. Otherwise, nothing's going to change, is it? If you don't face your fears, then they're not going to go away. Most of them won't go away on their own. Some might, but most won't. And, you need to build relationships. You've got to, make living, exercise, go out, see the world. And to do that, you need to face your fears daily and exercise your courage. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck in the same predicament. And we don't want that. Any last questions before we head off today? I really enjoyed today. Any final ones? No? All right. Have a great day, right? I'm going to get off. I've got a client later on. Appreciate all of you coming on, right? I'll speak to all of you soon. Good luck.